Dance Mom, starring Abby Lee Miller and her favorite student, Maddie Ziegler, premiered back in 2011. And one of the most controversial aspects of the show was how blatantly Miller appeared to favor the dancer. But to be fair, there were plenty of reasons why Maddie Ziegler was the favorite. The moms on the show had a hard time dealing with the obvious favoritism, and it wasn't long before the fans caught on, as well as the dancers themselves. But it wasn't really that hard to understand part of the reason why Miller gave Ziegler so much extra attention. As she mentioned on the show, Miller had known Ziegler and her family for a while before the dancer joined the Abby Lee Dance Company, long before the show started airing. In fact, in a Q&A session with Lifetime, Miller explained that she had gone to high school with Ziegler's father, and that Ziegler had been dancing at her studio since she was just 4 years old. She said, "When it was time to put both of his daughters into dance class, he brought them to me."
She was just this cupcake, this tiny little body and this big head and these gorgeous big eyes, and you just wanted to eat her up.
While Ziegler had already known Miller for years before Dance Mom started airing, she had more than one in with the studio mogul. For the first few seasons of the show, Ziegler's mom, Melissa, worked at the front desk of the Abby Lee Dance Company, presumably to help cover the costs of her daughter's numerous dance-related expenses. With her mother working for Miller, Ziegler likely got to spend more time at the studio and grow closer with her dance teacher. The fact that Melissa worked the front desk, in addition to the fact the Ziegler family knew Miller well, already gave young Ziegler a head start at the dance company. But it wasn't just nepotism that helped Miller favor the dancer. Miller saw something very special in Ziegler and knew that she was going to be hugely successful one day. On top of her family connections, Ziegler had some characteristics that helped make her Miller's favorite on the reality show. From the start, it was obvious that Ziegler was a fast learner. Of course, all of the girls who were a part of the dance company were fast learners, but Ziegler was different, and Miller complimented her ability to learn routines quickly many times on Dance Moms. Ziegler was even able to learn an entire routine with the Radio City Rockettes in just 1 hour, according to Teen Vogue. Additionally, as Vulture reported, she was able to learn the choreography for the Chandelier music video in just 2 hours. On most episodes of Dance Moms where the girls were performing at a competition, Ziegler would get to perform solos to lyrical routines, and they were absolutely stunning. It didn't take long for a lot of the moms and fans to complain that Ziegler's choreography seemed better than that of the other dancers. However, Miller refuted those claims, and in an interview with Lifetime, she said Ziegler's performances were better than her peers because of what the dancer did with the choreography, not because she received preferential treatment.
People are given a step by their dance teacher. We choreograph a routine. It's what they do with it. It's what they make the choreography look like when they step on stage.
Miller went on to call Ziegler and her young sister Mackenzie great hardworking kids. Still, the way Miller constantly defended herself against accusations of favoritism was a constant source of drama on the show. And despite the moms saying that Ziegler got better choreography, no one could deny that she was extremely talented. While Ziegler's talent took her far, her experience with dance took her even farther. Even though she was 8 years old when she started on Dance Moms, Ziegler probably worked harder than some people 2 or 3 times her age. On top of giving it her all in class, she would often take extra lessons to ensure that she gave a flawless performance. In fact, in Season 5 of Dance Moms, there were a few episodes in which Ziegler didn't place first in her age group at the competitions, or even place at all. It was rough on Ziegler as she was used to winning, but she worked extremely hard before the sheer talent competition and ended up taking home that first place trophy. Even though she didn't always win, Ziegler worked hard and dedicated herself to dance so that she would come out on top as much as possible, which definitely contributed to Ziegler's position as Miller's favorite young pupil, not to mention her success outside of Dance Moms. As any fan of the show knows, all former Abby Lee Dance Company dancers were adorable when they were kids and have grown up to be gorgeous. But according to Miller, there was something about Ziegler that made her especially charming and charismatic, so it's no wonder she was quick to take a liking to her. In her interview with Lifetime, Miller explained that Ziegler's charm won her over when she first met her. She said that the young Ziegler came up and told her matter-of-factly that she wanted to take hip-hop and tap dance lessons, and Miller couldn't get over the fact that Ziegler spoke for herself. With that kind of charm and cute factor, it's no wonder the star dancer went so far with Miller by her side. While Ziegler might be extremely talented, that doesn't mean she's perfect. And one reason why Miller adored Ziegler on Dance Moms is that when Ziegler messed up on her routines, she was willing to work to make corrections. A lot of the drama of Dance Moms relied on the mothers going to bat for their daughters and defending them when they messed up or didn't place in competitions.
She did fabulous! She was amazing! Her choreography didn't allow her to win!
But that wasn't really an issue with Ziegler. She always wanted to improve on her own. In fact, in one episode of Season 2, Ziegler forgot the choreography to her solo dance, and she ran off the stage. Immediately after she messed up, she asked the stage manager if she could try again because she didn't want to upset Miller. She knew what she did wrong, and she was willing to try again to get it right. That kind of dedication, no doubt, went into helping Ziegler become Miller's favorite student. Ziegler's mother, Melissa, was not one for drama on Dance Moms. Of course, she got into the occasional tiff with the other mothers while defending her daughter, but for the most part, she tried to stay out of things. The fact that Ziegler's mom didn't press Miller's buttons as much as the other moms did likely helped Ziegler become Miller's favorite dancer. But that isn't to say that Melissa didn't get into it with Miller from time to time, because she definitely did. In Season 6, for instance, Melissa rushed to defend her younger daughter, Mackenzie, after Miller harshly criticized her. But overall, Melissa and Miller got along. Even when Ziegler messed up her performance in Season 2 and had a bit of a backstage meltdown, Melissa remained calm, cool, and collected. The other moms were upset that Ziegler appeared to be getting preferential treatment from Miller.
Our plan is to prove what we have known all along, that Maddie gets extra private time.
But Melissa didn't engage and just focused on supporting her daughter. Melissa's tendency to avoid picking fights with Miller probably helped Ziegler remain Miller's favorite student. One of Ziegler's most recognizable traits are her huge eyes, which she uses to express a wide range of emotions while she performs. On Dance Moms, most of Ziegler's solo performances were intense lyrical routines, and her facial expressions only made those performances that much more amazing. When speaking with Lifetime, Ziegler was asked about her trademark Maddie face that she perfected in Season 2 and that fans have come to know and love.
Has to be like...
Miller probably loved Ziegler's ability to act while dancing and put her whole self into the routine. The Maddie face certainly became iconic during her time on the show. Ziegler, for her part, said in the interview that she thought she just looked constipated while making the Maddie face, but obviously the judges and her fans disagreed. Ziegler started dancing at the Abbey Lee Dance Company when she was only 4 years old, so it would have been understandable if she had needed some time to catch on to the routines and the technical aspects of dancing. But according to their Lifetime interview, that's not what happened. Ziegler's first class was apparently a hip-hop class, and Miller was sure Ziegler wouldn't do well in it given her age. But after the class was over, the hip-hop instructor came up to Miller and told her that Ziegler was the best one in the class, despite it being her first day. Naturally, Miller realized she may have found a superstar. It was only a few years later that Dance Moms began filming, and Ziegler's star quality became even more apparent. Since Miller already thought of her as a star, Ziegler would naturally become Miller's favorite student, even when compared to the talent of the other dancers. It was only a matter of time before Ziegler got discovered. So when artist Sia reached out to the young dancer on Twitter asking her to be in her music video for her song Chandelier, hardly anyone was surprised. Still, once the video went viral, when Ziegler was only 11 years old, Miller's favoritism towards Ziegler only grew. How could it not, when Ziegler would go on to perform on The Ellen DeGeneres Show and star in other Sia music videos? Of course, Miller couldn't help but brag about Ziegler after the release of Chandelier and all of Ziegler's subsequent performances that came with starring in the video. In one episode of Dance Moms, Miller called all the girls and their moms into the studio to congratulate Ziegler, and it was obvious Ziegler had a spot as Miller's favorite student for the foreseeable future. While Ziegler was once Miller's favorite dance student, the two have come a long way since their time on the reality show. After Ziegler found worldwide success with her dancing and acting skills, Miller ended up being sentenced to prison for 1 year for 20 counts of fraud, as Deadline reported. Still, despite Miller's legal troubles, Miller discussed her relationship with Ziegler in the special Dance Moms Abby Tells All exclusive in 2017, just before she went to prison, and basically took credit for the dancer's success, saying, "I look at what she has done, the other jobs and the other opportunities besides Dance Moms, they all involve dancing. I don't think, had she not been in my studio, she would be where she is today." While it's true that appearing on Dance Moms helped Ziegler make her mark on the world, her natural talent definitely helped her stand out. After Ziegler left Dance Moms at the end of season 6, it appeared as though she and Miller were on good terms. But in actuality, Miller's one-time favorite student is reportedly no longer in contact with the dance studio owner. Speaking with Us Weekly in 2018, Ziegler was asked about her relationship status with Miller, and she revealed they were no longer in touch, saying, "We don't keep in contact, but I wish her the best."
You're not sad,
Sad? No.
disappointed.
Absolutely. Because that's not the kid I raised.
Even though the two Dance Mom stars are no longer in touch, there's no denying the fact that Ziegler and Miller once had a strong bond and that both have come a long way since their time on the popular reality TV series. Ziegler has maintained her talent, securing plenty of jobs, and has basically become a star in her own right. And Miller, now out of prison and back as a star on the rebooted Dance Moms, seems like her creative and critical old self. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more list videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.